Hello, hello, and welcome to Brit Reviews It All. And today I am actually reviewing a movie that I just watched on Netflix. I've been wanting to look at it since it came out because it looks like something that I would be into, and I was correct. So, this one is featuring Millie Bobby Brown. If you've watched Stranger Things, she's on there. Um, so, just a quick little snippet of what Netflix says. It says, Damsel. When her fairy tale wedding ends, a brutal fight for survival begins. Millie Bobby Brown stars opposite Angela Bassett, Robin Wright, and Ray Winestone. So I did not know, and I didn't even notice that it did say Angela Bassett is in this movie. Um, I think everyone, they did a really good freaking job. Um, I will say the movie, it didn't necessarily go in the way I thought, but it was good though. It was good. It really was. So for Damsel, so you have this girl, her country, they're poor, they're starving. They're trying to, make sure that they provide, as the kingdom, provide food, shelter, warmth because it's cold at that time. So her father pretty much was like, we're not going to be able to make it um, another year, in the conditions that we are. So unfortunately, a whole nother kingdom, they presented themselves looking for a wife in exchange for money because you're into all of into that kind of stuff. That's the type of things that you did. They traded their daughters to be married into a kingdom or whatever, for whether it be riches or animals or whatever, cattle, whatever. So this is what pretty much happened to her. She wasn't into it at first, but once her father broke it down to her, like, girl, we need to do this. They went on ahead and she rolled with it. So they have to travel by boat. So they all on the ship, the whole entire family, because she's going to get married, right? So everybody's coming. So as they're coming in, they're coming across the water. When they're coming into the port, they have these two big old um, carved out dragons, and it's like it has the light, like where their fire would breathe, so it's almost like light, and it was pretty much letting you know you're entering into their port. And then once they get past the fog and past that, because Millie, well, not Millie, her name is Elodie in the movie, so she was a little bit like, ooh, like what the heck. But when she got in and saw everything, they saw the mountains, the beautiful castle, they were excited, they were happy. It was like, oh, okay, this is cool. They get in there, everything's going good, marriage is going right. The mother, she's the stepmother who Angela Bassett is playing, she started to feel some kind of way, and the dad did as well. Something occurred, and it must have went kind of fast, or I must have been looking at my phone. I missed it, to where they were starting to feel a little bit apprehensive about her marrying it into that family, because the stepmom told her, like, listen, just letting you know, like, I just don't feel right. Something feels wrong with these people. I don't know. But according to Elodie, everything was looking like it was supposed to look. They saw the beautiful gowns and the beautiful castle, and everyone looks, so extravagant and nice, and everything looks like it's about to be great. The prince, he's handsome. What more could a girl ask for, right? Looked like they were kind of having a little bit of chemistry, just a little bit. So they have the wedding or whatever, they do their wedding. She says her goodbyes, they go on. Then he takes her and says, okay, it's family tradition. You've been married into the family, so this is a part of the tradition. So they take her off to the mountain. When she arrives, she's thinking that it's just him and her. It's the kingdom or the court or whatever they call themselves, with the queen and all that. So they're there. And so she's going with it. They take her in. She's crossing like this bridge. There's rose petals and stuff, all leading the trail. They do this ceremony. The prince's mother is telling the story. Now, if you were listening, you were kind of like, something ain't right. Something ain't right. The way she's talking, something ain't right about this. But Elodie is so, on this, in her, I don't know the word, I can't find the word, but she is so like happy, she's excited, she's rolling with it. And everything just looks so beautiful. So she's just still in that vibe. And so I don't think certain words were really catching her, so she was just going with it. The lady did this ceremony that required her to take a knife, a ceremonial knife, cut her son's hand, and then cut Millie's hand and bond them together. And they did like this whole beautiful little ceremony. She said it's been going on for centuries and whatnot. And then that was it, right? So Elodie thinks that's it. So he, does this thing like, yeah, I'm gonna carry you across the threshold, whatever, whatever. He picks her up and she's like, oh, I've always wanted this. And, you know, walking. For a split second, I thought that he was actually going to refuse to do what I thought he was going to do, which was basically throw her down the pit, because part of the ceremony she had to take a coin and throw it down there. This dude, he said, I'm sorry, something of that nature, and tossed her tail down there, and just everybody left. When I'm telling you, her falling down that hole, that big old hole, was so like gut wrenching, because she's hitting twigs, she's hitting all kind of stuff. By the time she gets to the bottom, she has all kind of scrapes and stuff all over her, and I think she basically knocked herself unconscious for a second. But when she woke up, she was like, "What the heck?" So of course she's going through all the feelings. She's mad. She's very angry. She's crying. She's all kind of things, because it's like, what the heck is happening? Then, in a part of her being so angry, she snatched off her necklace and threw it. But at some point, she got to looking around and she started noticing, okay, that's not my necklace. That's not mine. This is not mine. And then it dawned on her, she's been sacrificed. Okay? Sacrificed. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. Okay, so how is she going to get out of this? I'm like, in my mind, she's going to get out. She's going to go back, get revenge on them, like taking them out one by one. That's what I thought was going to happen. That is not quite what happened, but it was close enough. This girl, she had to go through so much. When she came across the dragon, I was like, wait a minute, the dragon talks? What? Mind you, she didn't even really know what was down there with her until she saw this bird who was on fire, and she, put it out. She's such a sweetheart. She put it out of its misery because it was being burnt. Then all of a sudden you saw a whole bunch of birds just flying birds on fire everywhere. And then that's when something happens to where, because with her making all that noise, she woke up the dragon, and that's how the dragon knew she was down there. And then besides, with her taking his blood and her hand, the two cuts, and putting them together, they smeared the royal blood on the hand, so the dragon smells royal blood. This, when I say Millie was not giving up, and I really thought at some point she was just gonna give up and say, forget it, I don't care anymore. She fought her way out of that freaking place. And when it seemed like she gave up, something happened, and she pushed herself forward that much more. All the women she started to see, because there was a wall with a bunch of names written on it, and then there was where the girls who were there before her, they were able to figure out different ways in the tunnel. So what they did was they drew it on the wall, a map. So she used this, mind you, she had to figure out how to make herself light so she could see. And there was like these little blue air light up looking bug things. And I thought initially, I'm like, okay, this is going to be something that's going to give her like superpowers, something like that. But they actually ended up being great for healing. So she was able to heal all of her scars, especially her leg, because the dragon did catch, the fire did kind of catch her dress, and in with that happening, it did burn part of her leg that was healed. So I was like, okay, great. Okay, we got the body parts healed, scrapes healed up, so no infection, so she's gonna be okay. So she came up with the idea, okay, you know what? Let me pull a piece off of my dress. That dress and her little gadgets that she had on her. She had a knife on her. She had a like a little ball thing that she was able to put fire in to keep light, which ended up going out in one of her attempts to look around the cave and try to figure her way. So she ended up being able to take a piece of her dress, gather some of those bugs and put them in there and use it as light. Um, she follows the map that the girls put up previous before her put up, and she followed that. Took her to the part where there's an opening where it said the crystals. So she found a crown from a princess that was down there before her. Um, Took more pieces of her dress, wrapped up her hands, wrapped up her feet, because those crystals she checked, they were like very sharp, and I was like, ooh, this is not going to end well if she has to go up that. So she goes up. As she's going up, the dragon hears all of the ruckus, so the dragon finds her and literally sat there and watched her climb all the way up. At one point, she slipped and a piece broke, and she almost was finna fall. And that dragon had that mouth wide open, ready for her to fall right on in there. But she caught herself with that crown, thank goodness. So she climbs on up. She gets on up, and I'm like, oh yes, she's gonna get out of here, and she is gonna go get revenge on these people. No, she gets up there. She's walking to the opening where there's openings outside, and it is on the side of a big mountain, and there is no way for her to get down. She is up there. And just when she was like kind of giving up, she saw some people down there on horses that had arrived, and she was like trying to yell for them, like, hey, hey, hey. In the process of her doing that, the freaking dragon, which I didn't think came out of the mountain, but it did. It came out and came to attack her from that way to get her. And she had to hurry up and move. And in the process of her doing that, she saw the other bodies of the girls who made it all the way to that point and didn't get to go anywhere else because the dragon met them around on that side and burned them alive. Uh, Dragon still didn't get her because the dragon heard the people who had arrived and was like, what is this? And took off to go back to go inside the cave or the mountain to inspect and figure out what the heck is going on and why are these extra people here, because ain't nobody supposed to be here. Sorry, y'all, I'm washing clothes. So let's let it finish. My washer. Okay, so back to what I was saying. So the dragon goes to go see what the heck is going on. She can hear them from the other side, from where she came from. Hear somebody yelling her name, and she's like, wait a minute, these are my people. These are my people. Somebody who's here, they know my name. So she has to go back down to try to get them quit yelling, because the dragon is going to know where you are. um the dragon's going to know where you are. You keep coming in here yelling. But I'm like, okay, it was her dad and some of his people that came back to come and get her. They never left. They came back to come and get her. So as they're walking around, he hired someone to show them where she would have been and to take them down there. He was finna leave, but he was like, no, I paid you to show me the way. You're going to stay down here until we get my daughter and we get out of here. But the guy was like, at this point, she's been down here, I think he said, for 2 days. There's no way she would have made it this far. But little did they know, homegirl is still holding on. Okay, she ain't gave up yet. So when I say she gave this dragon a run for their money, she gave the dragon a run for her money. Um, so in the process, she was able to find her way. In the process of her finding her way to where the voices were coming from, she came across an area where she saw that there were some baby dragons that were dead. And you can see where there's a lot of like um, uh, royal jewelry was all in that area. Um, and that's when it dawned on her that what the story that they told her was not correct. What it was, she had to really kind of piece it together pretty much. With that being said, they were the ones who murdered the dragon's children, three children, three girls, and they were the last of her kind. And so when they did that, she made a deal with that the then king of that kingdom. And so the understanding was for me to leave y'all alone over there in y'all castle and to coexist, you have to bring me royal blood. And I think it has to be three or something like that. I don't know. But whatever the case, she figured it out. She goes, tries to find her way to get to her dad, but the dragon, of course, got there first. Dragon took out everybody one by one. Unfortunately, Elodie had to watch her father lose his life, which was really sad. But in the process of that happening, the dragon heard her. The dragon wanted to use the dad to make Elodie come out, right? Okay, so it didn't. He didn't. He told her not to do it, not to come out, stay where she was, and follow his orders. Dragon went on ahead and got rid of him by puncturing him, and that was tough to see. She uses them big old thick hands and the claws and just dug right on in him. So the dragon heard her and was about almost close to getting her until the other guy that showed them how to get down there, made some kind of noise because he was trying to figure out how to get the heck up out of there. But it was too late. When the dragon was flying around, you probably should have used that time to get out, but he didn't. So the dragon went to go see what the heck that was about, went after him. In the process of doing that, while the dragon was distracted, Elodie was able to speak one last time to her dad, and that was so sad. He told her how to get out. He told her where her stepmom and her sister were and that they were waiting for them at the boat. So Elodie takes off. I thought she was going to get the knife, her father's sword, but she didn't. She left it. She went straight to the rope and went on to climb herself out. When I say she barely freaking made it, she barely freaking made it. But she did. And when she got out, she takes off, grabs the horse, takes off running. But again, the dragon came outside of the cave and was after her tail. She was smart, but it was also very sad to see that dragon burn that horse. That was so sad. I did not like that. Even though they did it so quick, I was so upset about that. But she had to get off the horse and hide in like this little area. The dragon would have thought she was still on there, but by the time the dragon even got close to where the horse was and burned it, she had already gotten off of the horse and hid. Dragon went ballistic, started blowing, just shooting fire everywhere, and that is how the people in the kingdom knew that she must have escaped. So the lady, the queen, she's mad, she's pissed off, and I'm looking at her like, yeah, that's what you get. But guess what happened? They go to the boat, they take charge of the boat, find the queen, the step mom, Elodie's stepmom and her sister, and basically snatched her up and said, you promised us a daughter, we gonna take this one since your other one wanted to be such a nuisance. Stabbed the stepmom, which I didn't understand why that was necessary. So unnecessary, but you stabbed her. And so they took the little sister. So two things are happening at the same time. The stepmom was able to gather herself and get together long enough to get a horse and get up there towards where Elodie's father was going to go and find her. At the same time, the queen, the prince, and Elodie's sister, they were going back to redo the process again The son refused to do it because he was like, this is a little girl, this is not right. He refused to do it. So she basically cut the little girl's hand, cut her hand, smeared her blood on it, and they tossed her just like they did Elodie. Elodie found out about it. She heard her sister screams because she went, I think she did go back to the little bridge thing where they threw her off and the little sister. They were already gone by the time she got up there. So she had to go back into the cave, and I'm like, God dang it. She worked so hard to get out. She ended up having to go back in there. So she goes back in. And when I say she goes in fighting to get her sister, the dragon knew that they would be able to use the sister in order to lure Elodie back. And she did. Obviously, Elodie was coming back for the sister. All in all, Elodie and that dragon, they were fighting it out, duking it out. Elodie gave that dragon, again, a run for her money. In the end, Elodie was able to outsmart the dragon, stab it more than once, use its on fire against her, the dragon, right? So Elodie was like talking to the dragon and was just like, yeah, why don't you go ahead, do it, burn me. Dragon did it, but it was something that she was standing behind. She moved it enough time so when the fire went, it flared back up and hit the dragon because that was the only way it was going to take that dragon down. The stabbing that dragon in the neck, in the throat, and then the hand did not take it down. You had to use its own fire. That's crazy. So, in the midst of all of that happening, Elodie was able to actually talk to the dragon again and tell the dragon, show the hand and say, they've tricked you. And you have taken been taking innocent daughters from families for centuries because this is how they trick you to make you think that you're eating someone of royal blood. So the dragon's just like, like, damn, okay. Ooh, that sucks. And then goes ahead and was like, just basically said, just take me out of my misery. Just take me out of my misery. And Elodie goes with the knife, with the sword, and we think that she's about to go ahead and put her out of her misery, but she didn't. She was like, I'm tired of people telling me what to do. So Elodie goes, she gets those little blue little worm things, healing worms, puts them on the dragon, and lets them heal the dragon up because the dragon was dying. Next thing we know, and I knew this was going to happen, I'm like, Elodie and the dragon are going to team up, and she's going to come in, and she's going to let them have it. So she uses the coin that they used to toss over the thing in the ritual, rolled it into this wedding. And I mean, these people move so fast. They were already in the process of getting the prince remarried to a whole nother family. So it's like, how is all of y'all not coming across each other down there at that port? So what's happening? Anyway, we're just gonna roll with it. So the queen sees the coin and picks it up and is like, what the heck? Here comes Elodie walking, looking like she done been through it all. Walking down the aisle. And the prince looks at her and he was like, trying to explain, I'm sorry. I didn't really want to do that. And Elodie's like, whatever. The queen is still being the queen, right? She don't care. She's angry. She's like, how dare you? Calling her all kinds of things. And then she looks at the girl who's about to get married to the prince and was like, no, it's good for you. Save yourself and your family right now. Baby, it didn't take her not 1 second, not 2 seconds. It didn't take her no seconds. She was out of there. Okay? Out. Her and her family hit the door. Then she looks at everybody and she says, this is your last chance to remove yourselves and your families. Everybody else still standing around. She's like, what are you going to do? I'm not scared of you. And she was like, it's not me that you should be fearing. I'm rewording this, but it's not me. And then next thing you know, up above at the opening, here comes the dragon. That dragon is looking at them, and everybody is, even the court, they're all looking like, oh my God, no. Y'all had no problem with throwing innocent girls over that freaking into a ditch and feeding them to a dragon Um, I don't know how many times, because who knows how many times. It was a lot of names down there. So who knows how long this has been going on. They said for centuries, right? But yeah, so the dragon, baby, Millie, not Millie. I keep calling her Millie, her real name. Elodie leaves out of the room. The dragon devours all of them with its flames. The prince knew that what was coming, and he accepted his fate because he knew he was wrong. The queen, she wanted to scream, and we could see everything just like, ugh. It was crazy. In the end, baby Elodie walked out of there, walking away from that castle, and then we get the view of the dragon flying over her. So it's like those two, they have an understanding now, which is beautiful. We'll take it. Um, in the end, they ended up going back to their home by the boat. Stepmom, she survived. The sister, of course, they got the sister back. Everybody's good. As they are traveling back to their land, we see that the drag the dragon is actually following them as well. So I'm like, okay, so is this gonna be like a thing? Excuse me, y'all. It's gonna be a thing where y'all are cool now, like everything's good to go. We're gonna see. So yeah. So when I say if you are into those type of movies, it was really good. It made sense. Um, Executed very well. I would definitely watch it again. And I'm just saying, if you have not seen Damsel on Netflix, go and watch it because it really was a good watch. 10 out of 10 for me. All right. So if you have watched this entire video, I want to say thank you. Hopefully I wasn't talking too fast. I try to keep my videos under 30 minutes. I try. But yeah, so this, go watch. All right. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will be back with more videos, movies, TV shows, you name it. I love it all. All right. Bye, y'all, and have a beautiful, wonderful day. Bye.